Hi, I am James Herbert, Service Manager for New Way Trucks. This video is a walk-around training video of the New Way Sidewinder automated side loader. We will cover the technical features of the Sidewinder body and arm. Please make sure to follow all proper lockout and tagout procedures whenever they apply. Here we have a Sidewinder mounted on a Mack chassis. This truck has a front-mounted hydraulic pump, which is behind the grill. If you look close here, you can see it behind the A and C on the grill. On other trucks, the pump may be mounted under the chassis or directly to the transmission PTO. The Sidewinder features a dual-section vane pump. The body section is always closest to the pump drive shaft. The arm section is away from the pump drive shaft. You can see the body and arm solenoids that activate the hydraulics. The Sidewinder uses a dual-section pump for faster and smoother operation. Some models prior to 2011 may have reliefs in the pump. If so, they should be set to 200 psi above their respective main reliefs, which we will cover later on in the video. Alternatively, they can be replaced with cavity plugs. This is the street side cleanout. Here is the battery disconnect switch. The location and style of this switch varies on chassis type. We installed 230 amp blade fuses here. These are the proximity sensors that control the packer blade. The packer home sensor controls the home or retracted position. The packer extended sensor controls extended position. The metal flag is mounted to the base end of the street side packer cylinder. The cylinders are mounted at an angle, so it rotates with the base of the cylinder as it moves. The cylinders are mounted at an angle for better compaction power. Here is the body lift cylinder and the packer blade follower panels. These two panels feature sealed roller bearings. They do not require greasing. Here is the body down proximity sensor. Under this panel we have the body controls. On the left are the Mack air valves. In the middle is the body control box, often referred to as a Marlin box, and on the right are the hydraulic valves for the body functions. If your truck has different controls like this one, you have an all-electric valve model. The features of these models are a little bit different. Please see the electric valve Sidewinder video. This control box contains the electrical controls for the body functions. The arm is controlled by a separate controller, which we will cover later. On the inside of the control box, we see LED lights that indicate if the various inputs and outputs are active. The fuses also have LED lights. They are illuminated when their fuse is good. Using these LED lights are of great help when troubleshooting a problem. The back of the cover contains the layout and description of the control box. Some older units have a smart relay to control the auto pack function. The Mack air valves are pneumatic valves that actuate the hydraulic valves. They are 12-volt DC valves controlled by the control box. The regulator for these valves should be set to 75 psi. To set the pressure, temporarily install a gauge. Here are the functions each Mack valve controls. The main air supply is the master valve. It supplies the air to all the other valves. There's an LED to indicate if it is powered on. The body hydraulic valves are air operated from the Mack valves. Here are the features and the functions of the body hydraulic valves. We do not recommend leaving the pressure gauge attached to the valves as they will wear out. Notice there is no line connected to the body lift retract port. We use a separate dump valve to lower the body. It is an electrically activated solenoid valve. When open, gravity does its trick and the oil returns directly to the tank. Here are the body valve pressure settings. Here is the arm end proximity sensor. More on that later. Here is one style of oil tank. This one is aluminum with external filters. There are also internal filters, steel tanks, and square tanks available. Here are the features of this tank. It is very important to change the breather at least every 6 months or 800 PTO hours. If it becomes plugged, it can lead to expensive hydraulic component failures. The filter flow restriction gauge indicates the condition of the filters. Check at idle speed with the PTO engaged and the oil at normal operating temperature. The yellow marker will move towards the red mark as the filters become plugged. The optional filter retainer keeps filters from coming loose. It is part number 128805. Inside the tank there is a 100 micron strainer attached to the suction line. Here is the street side tailgate cylinder and its pilot operated holding valve. The Sidewinder features a slide lock tailgate. Here's one of the locks. Here is the street side tailgate prop rod. Always use this prop rod along with the curbside prop rod or another safe and suitable method of securing the tailgate when working on the tailgate or inside the body. If the tailgate is not secured, a hydraulic failure could cause entrapment, severe injury, or even death. These holes are for easy access to the tailgate seal mounting bolts, for easy replacement of the tailgate seal. These stickers indicate if the tailgate is fully closed. Here you see the backup camera. These are the lower tailgate locks. They can be adjusted for a tighter tailgate seal. Here is the curbside tailgate cylinder and its pilot operated holding valve. This is the tailgate close proximity sensor. Here is the automated arm. The Sidewinder features the industry's strongest arm. It is available with the 96-gallon or 300-gallon gripper arms. Shown here are the more common 96-gallon arms. The Sidewinder arm has a 1,000-pound lifting capacity and a standard 12-foot reach. With the arm cover removed, we see 3 proximity sensors. The top proximity sensor provides the arm-up cushioning and starts the auto pack function. The middle proximity sensor automatically closes the grippers, switches the camera view if so equipped, and triggers the optional can counter. It also acts as an interlock. If the crusher panel and the packer panel are not in the home positions, the arm will not rise above this point. The bottom proximity sensor is for the arms down cushion. The arm controller cushions the cylinder when it does not see the mass behind this sensor. If your arm is moving down slowly, check the operation of this sensor. Remember the arm end proximity sensor from earlier? This sensor signals the arm controller to cushion the arm as it is coming in. Its input is one of 2 that is required to deactivate the arms not stowed alarm, which we will cover later. Now let's take a look at what proper arm cushioning looks like. Notice as the arm moves in, it slows right before it stops and it does not slam. Proper cushioning for the arm up prevents slamming or bouncing. Slamming or bouncing will cause premature failure or breakage of the cylinder and other arm parts. Proper arm down cushioning also prevents slamming or bouncing. If any of the cushioning is slow or violent, please see our video, New Way Sidewinder Arm Cushion Adjustment, for more information. Let's talk a little bit about the arm chains. Proper chain adjustment will greatly extend the service life of the arm. Along with greasing, keeping the chains in adjustment can make an arm last for several years before any arm repair is needed. This is what the arm looks like when the chains are properly adjusted. Notice the gripper head is tight and does not shake. Compare that to these loose chains. Loose or misadjusted chains will increase maintenance and shorten the lifetime of the arm. Properly adjusted chains will make the arm tight and measure 2 3/4 inches on each side as shown here. If the chains or arm are loose, we already know that the chains need to be adjusted before alignment can be checked. We have a tool available to help with the chain adjustment. It is our part number 129141. If your chains need adjusted, please see our video, New Way Sidewinder Arm Chain Adjustment, for more information including a step-by-step guide. Okay, back to the other arm features. This is the arm in, gripper's close proximity sensor. This sensor signals the body control box that the arm is in and the grippers are closed. It is the second input required to deactivate the aforementioned arms not stowed alarm. Older trucks have a mechanical limit switch like this one here. If you have this switch, we highly recommend upgrading to the newer style shown before. The kit for this upgrade is part number 127814. The arm controller is located under the cab control panel inside the cab. Note that the body control box is separate from the arm controller. The body controller controls the body functions and the arm controller controls the arm functions. The arm hydraulic valves are found here. They are electronically controlled and operated valves. There are no MAC valves or compressed air used. Here are the features, functions, and pressure settings for the arm valves. The main pressure setting for the arm valves is 2000 psi. The horizontal mast, or arm in and out, is the first section and it has no adjustments. The vertical mast, or arm up and down, is the middle section. Arm up setting is 1500 psi to 1800 psi, wherever it acts the smoothest. The arm down setting is 1950 psi. The third section is for the grippers. The gripper close setting is 1100 psi. The gripper open is controlled by the flow divider on the rear of the gripper head. Here is the curbside clean out. Here we have the crusher panel home proximity sensor and the hopper camera and work light. Here's a close-up of the crusher panel home proximity sensor. Remember, this sensor must see the crusher panel for the arm to raise beyond the middle arm sensor. Here we have the hopper door proximity sensor. This sensor must see the door is shut for the PTO pump to activate. If this sensor is off, the PTO pump will not activate. Now let's take a look inside the cab. Here are the controls for the arm and body. We see the control buttons, the emergency stop button, the camera monitor, the arm joystick controller, and the arm not stowed indicator. Remember that the arm not stowed indicator will flash if either the arm in sensor or the gripper close sensor are not on. On earlier trucks, the control buttons look like these. They function the same. To engage the PTO, the reset switch must first be pressed and then press the rocker switch onto the on position within 1.5 seconds. This is a safety feature to prevent accidental or unwanted PTO engagement. The tailgate and body interlock switch must be pressed simultaneously with the tailgate up or body up function to raise the tailgate or body. This is another safety feature to prevent undesired raising of the tailgate or body. Here we have the PTO hour meter and the optional cam counter. Here are the indicator lights. They will illuminate to show various conditions of the body, such as arm controller fault, arm stowed, tailgate, and body position. The fault indicator light flashes when there is a fault condition on the arm. If there is a fault condition, it will flash twice, pause, then flash 1 to 9 times. Count the number of flashes after the pause. This is a list of error codes and their meanings. They cover if inputs or outputs are shorted or have too high a load, or in other words, too low of electrical resistance. They also cover if the joystick is giving valid readings. Let's take a look at an example of the fault light. We see 2 flashes followed by 1 flash. Referring to the chart, this indicates a power sensor fault. This means the controller is seeing too much current from one of its inputs. In this case, the joystick deadman switch and the underseat controls interlock switch were pressed at the same time. Now let's take a look under the control button panel. Under the control button panel, we find the arm controller and the PTO pump controller. Remember, the arm controller controls all the arm functions. The pump controller is the interface between the new way body and the chassis. It controls when the pumps turn on and off depending on the RPM and other factors that can vary depending upon the options. Here are the optional underseat arm control buttons. They allow you to operate the arm from outside the truck. The interlock switch activates these controls. The interlock button must be pressed and held along with the desired function. This is a safety feature to prevent accidental or unwanted functions. That wraps it up. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for more videos from New Way.